The blueprint, study my movement, more than the 2 cents. Was losing, now I'm oozing with success. Now I got the tools to beat the stress. I lose cause I'm a step ahead of you.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Today we'll be talking about NXT 2.0 from April the 12th, 2022. So there's no news and notes for NXT this week, at least none that I saw. So if there was some news and notes and there's something that involves NXT, let me know in the comment section below. I may have missed it. I just probably wasn't up on my reading the news. But we do get to move on to NXT, which was a very good show. Championship Tuesday. You know, I think 3 of the titles were on the line. Very fun show. Even though 2 of the 3 title matches had pretty much the same finish. I wasn't a fan of that. But I think overall we had a pretty good show. Match 1. Good match between Cameron Grimes and Solo Sikoa. During the match, Cameron Grimes said that he respects Solo Sikoa, but his bloodline can kiss his grits. And that really should have negated him just getting destroyed. I mean, it's a babyface versus babyface match in which nobody got an entrance. I mean, I'm just kind of tired of that. The North American title is going to be the division of no entrance, where if you're in that, you just don't get an entrance. You know, your entrance goes in the toilet after that. They had overtime, and they still kind of tried to shave time everywhere they could. So Trick Williams, he distracted Solo Sikoa at the end, allowing Cameron Grimes to hit the cave-in for the victory. Afterwards, Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes, both jumped both Cameron Grimes and Solo Sikoa, beat them both up, and that was very good. This was all fine. Solo Sikoa challenged Cameron Grimes. Hopefully Solo Sikoa won't be in NXT much longer. I just think that he is just too perfect for the main roster in terms of just putting him with the Usos and Roman. I just think that we need to do that. But I understand, like, you want to wait. You know, you want to find the right vehicle that allows him to stand out and not just him be the third Uso. You're looking for something to give him an opportunity to open up, which is why I think I pitched on this channel before a loser breaks up tag team match between the Usos and the New Day, because they have such a long storyline. You know, it's been running for years, and the New Day either formally breaks up or they formally break up the Usos, and then we just replace one of the Usos, preferably Jay, with Solo Sikoa, and then we can have a different version of the Usos with a different tag partner, or just have the Usos be a 3-man group. You know, the Usos expand to be like a small faction, which I actually like more. You know, I actually like that idea a little bit more. But he doesn't need to be in NXT much longer. He'd probably learn more being in the car with his brothers and his cousin than he would be in NXT, to be quite honest. You know, that's just me though. Carmelo Hayes is back in the picture. That's the right thing to do. So Grayson Waller cut a promo, because this show was full of promos, which is good. Grayson Waller says that Sanga is pissed because they should just be handed the tag team championships. I mean, they were the top contenders before this whole thing was thrown out of whack by Nash Carter getting fired. They didn't mention that, by the way. They just said the titles were vacated. The titles were vacated. They didn't even mention Wesley. They didn't say anything about him. But they didn't mention Nash Carter either. They didn't mention none of this stuff. And I really don't think that they should. I think that, you know, WWE has a thing about just forget it. You know, it happened. It's over. Just forget it. And so they just kind of move on without really explaining anything. Back to Grayson Waller. He said Sanga gets pissed about the Gauntlet, and he's going to tear through everyone and hand Grayson Waller the tag team championships as it should be. The Creed brothers said that the Pretty Deadly is pretty stupid, and that they're going to beat their ass, and you should check their track record. They don't break. They break people. And they don't crack under pressure. They apply it. And then I actually like that from the Creed brothers. That was actually pretty good. We got another promo. This time it was from Legado del Fantasma. Santos Escobar said that they run things here in NXT. He got propositioned by Tony D'Angelo, who pulled out an envelope full of cash. Presumably it was cash. We didn't get to see actually any crisp bills, But it was presumably money. Santos Escobar told him that respect is worth more than money and put the money back in the inside coat. And I was like, wait a minute. Is Santos Escobar turning babyface? You mean we about to have ourselves a gang war with Legado del Fantasma and Tony D'Angelo and his paisans? But he don't have any paisans. Who's going to be his paisans? Who's going to be these guys? I'm pretty sure there's some guys around here somewhere they could be his paisans. Anyway, I don't mind Escobar being a babyface. I would have preferred if he'd have stayed a heel and feuded with the Mysterios, but we got to work with what we got to work with here. I mean, we're stuck with this thing. They teased Duke Hudson and Dexter Lumis becoming a tag team by having Indy Hartwell and Persia Pirotta say if they were in it, they'd win. I was not a fan of this. I hated this. I hated all of this when it comes to Indy and Persia. Because I think one of my subscribers told me that this was going to end in the tag team with Duke Hudson and and Dexter Lumis. And I probably told him it was stupid. And guess what? It's still stupid, but you were right. So congratulations on being correct. You know, you're a smart guy. You follow the product. My dumb ass think that they actually want to get somebody over. All right, but Pretty Deadly, they cut a promo too. And they have changed Pretty Deadly's names. Their names are now Kit Wilson and Elton Prince. That's right, folks. Kit Wilson. He named himself Kit. K-I-T. Does that ever work out? Let's just be honest. Does that ever work out? Does anybody ever name themselves some shit like Kit and it's okay? Like it's all right? Like why would you ever name yourself Kit? That's stupid, right? It sounds like somebody naming a Disney animal, like a squirrel or a chipmunk or something. And Elton Prince, I get it. Elton John, Prince, probably his favorite singers or whatever. I get it. I don't know which is which. I never learned which is which when they was in NXT UK because they're so annoying. They're super obnoxious. Pretty Deadly are super obnoxious. They're so over the top. Upon seeing them, most people had an immediate gut reaction, which I like. That should tell you that you got something. Nobody ignored that Pretty Deadly has now debuted. When they came up on the screen, there was people who say, I love these guys already. Because they have that cornball quality to them that the Iconics have. Where I said last week that they remind me of the male version of the Iconics. And they do. Yeah, boy. But you also have the sort of the guttural hatred from some other guys. Like there are some other guys who see Pretty Deadly and they're just like, I can't, this is what wrestling is now. What the fuck are they wearing? And I'm on that tip. Like I watched them in NXT UK. I still don't understand what is the point of a shirt in which there's nothing that covers your chest or back. It's all covering your arms and around it is so obnoxious. It is some of the most obnoxious wrestling gear ever created. They both look like vampires. They're pale. They have long hair, but they have some charisma. And I just said to myself, these guys are like Breezango 2.0, the male version of the Iconics. If you've got two different types of Dolph Ziggler, here it is. You got Dolph Ziggler in platinum blonde, and you got Dolph Ziggler in black hair. And these guys are hilarious. They're fucking hilarious. That's one thing I can say. Pretty Deadly are entertaining. They are at least that. They aren't boring guys. But they're goofballs. They're goofball idiots. And which is them becoming the tag team champions was so surprising. Because they're goofball idiots. Anyway, the Creed brothers were first forced to start the Gauntlet. First with Legado del Fantasma, which the crowd actually preferred Legado del Fantasma. They love these guys, and whenever the NXT audience actually likes something, the WWE decides to bury it. The crowd loves Legado del Fantasma. Kill them first. Basement Lariat, really good match to start the whole thing. I really enjoyed it. But Legado del Fantasma goes down. Briggs and Jensen were second. During this point in time, Elektra Lopez was leaving the ringside area. She decided to sucker punch Fallon Henley and just knocked her block off, and it was great. Because it came out of nowhere. It was like some shit on the schoolyard where she reached across with I think her left hand and just bat right across the face. It was great. Brutus Creed of the Creed brothers went through an announce table as Briggs and Jensen very excitedly put him through the table. Briggs and Jensen also botched a double punch spot where this was like the double boss man punch where he slides outside the ring and throws that uppercut. See, the boss man's slide and uppercut joint was dope. I love that. That was probably my favorite boss man move. They tried to do that here, a double version of it. But it seems like only one of them gets to actually throw the punch. The other one just kind of whiffs it. And I think it was Briggs that completely whiffed that punch. And it looked like shit. And I wish they hadn't done it because the camera was right on him. Briggs and Jensen will lose next. The next opponents were Grayson Waller and Sanga. We found out that Grayson Waller had faked his arm injury. And despite, a pretty solid affair between the two groups, Waller and Sanga took the pinfall. So Sanga got pinned again. I ain't a fan of that. This guy's a monster. We shouldn't have him losing so much. He loses his aura as a bodyguard because he keeps getting beat. This seemed like a good situation to either have Grayson Waller pull out because he's got this fake injury and him just saying, oh, I can't go. And then, maybe he tries to fake it later and he's the reason that they lose. By showing that he wasn't really hurt and therefore he gets rolled up and pinned. That probably would be better, but they pinned Sanga. I don't know what's up with that. So then that brought out Pretty Deadly last. So Pretty Deadly versus the Creed brothers. There was a spot in this match that I thought was very good, and nobody talks about it. I didn't see anybody talking about it anyway. One member of Pretty Deadly, I think it was Kit Wilson, the blonde one. He was laying on the back of the other one while he was in the turnbuckle. From there, he did kind of a catapult off his back into what we call the code breaker or the recoil. And I loved that move. That looked like it was fucking dope. It looked like he got shot out of a shotgun and caught him and brought his knees into his face. It was great. It should have been the finish. It's a lot better than what their actual finish is. But Pretty Deadly still managed to cheat, and they win the tag team championships. Good job. I think Pretty Deadly is only the second team to ever come out of NXT UK and become the NXT UK tag team champions and the NXT tag team champions. I think Mustache Mountain was the only other team that has done this. So it was fantastic for them. Keeps their feud with the Creed brothers alive. This was all good booking. This was great booking here. I didn't have a problem with it. Pretty Deadly wins. It's the right decision. So when the Creed brothers finally get their revenge, you could double up. Not only do they get revenge, but they also will get the tag team championships, which everybody wants them to win because the Creed brothers are super over as babyfaces right now. It opens up a lot of opportunities there. The Creed brothers are going to get super over all at one time. That should be very good. All right, so Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker's out here, and he's pretty upset, as he should be, because his daddy got kidnapped. Now that we can say it's his daddy, we can talk about his daddy all the time now. So he said that Joe Gacy has his attention and that his dad is home safe and sound finally. He put 20 years into this business, and he deserved to get treated better than this, and that he wanted Joe Gacy to come on out there, and he's going to finish this. Gacy cuts a promo in front of a burning trash can, to which he says that after kidnapping his dad, he didn't put it that way, but he says he understands Bron Breakker a lot better. And he says he realizes where you get your toughness, because that old man took his beating like a man. And says that after he let him go, he did leave one thing behind, and it was his Hall of Fame ring. Joe Gacy then says that the Hall of Fame ring represents his father's life's work, his family's legacy, all the missed birthdays and Christmases, and then he threw it into the burning drum. Bron Breakker was visibly upset. I mean, real upset. Real mad. He was big mad. He was so mad he left the building. He got the hell out of there. He just had to get the hell on because Gacy's a nut. This was a fantastic segment. This was great. I'm a big fan of Joe Gacy, man. And his character is deranged. I'm not sure it's the original character anymore because him kidnapping and beating up Rick Steiner seems to be out of character for him. But at the same time, it works, so I don't care. So it's a little OOC, but I can respect it. Then we get our good old cult leader Joe Gacy back in his second promo by saying that our society is poisoned, that our society is now judged in the court of public opinion rather than the rule of law, and that people don't know what you want until you give it to them, and that Bron Breakker is too emotional to lead NXT. He is the only one who can guide NXT into the future. And that for Bron Breakker, he's going to tear down everything Bron Breakker believed in until only one thing remains. Joe Gacy then pulled the Hall of Fame ring out of the fire with a pair of tongs, by the way, so he was safe, and put it back on his finger. I thought that was it. Obviously, if he'd have done that, we just saw skin peeling off of his hand. So apparently he welded the Hall of Fame ring to his hand. So I don't think we should have... Joe Gacy should wrestle with gloves on from now on, right? You know it's not going to happen, but that's really what should happen, right? Now, it was a great visual because it tells you everything you need to know about Joe Gacy. Is that Gacy likes to pontificate. Gacy likes to... He's got a super massive ego. So he likes to go on and on. He likes to drum on. And he's a psychopath. Like he doesn't feel much in the way of pain because he's willing to put this hot ass ring back on his hand. And I like this. You know, he's a different kind of threat to Bron Breakker. He's not a I'm going to beat you up kind of threat. He's not a physical threat. And I think this works best when you have a powerhouse character. If you have a powerhouse guy like a Goldberg or Batista or, Bron Breakker, seems that he's going to be in that mold. His best opponents are not going to be other powerhouse guys and, where he can get beat on his own game. His best opponents are going to be crafty technicians, psychologists, people who are really good at psychology and can outsmart him and play him like a fiddle. And this is the game that Joe Gacy is trying to play. He threw the Hall of Fame ring in the burning drum, pissed off Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker storms out of the arena and leaves. And once Bron Breakker is gone, Joe Gacy picks up the ring and puts it on, showing that he has his toughness of his own and that he doesn't give a damn about pain or anything else. He's going to do bad things. He's willing to do whatever it takes in terms of becoming the NXT champion. And I like this segment, even though it was very over the top in terms of Gacy should have burned his own hand off. But at least he cared enough to put the tongs on first. At least he cared enough to pull the fire out with the tongs. The ring out of the fire with the tongs. So, congratulations, Joe Gacy. You did a good job, sir. All right, so Toxic Attraction. They said that they called their shots, and now the tag team titles are back where they belong, and Dakota Kai has no chance of taking their singles title. They're the brains, the beauty, the gold, and the beasts. So then Mandy Rose defeated Dakota Kai. Solid match. This finish was essentially the same finish as the one before it, as this other singles title match, as JC Jane distracted Dakota Kai rather. And that allowed Mandy Rose to hit the running knee strike for the win. And I know a lot of people are starting to get frustrated with Dakota Kai not winning the title, but I'm okay with Dakota Kai not winning the title. Mandy Rose, why break her momentum? I get that, I think I may even have suggested they might turn the title here. And it's an important thing to, it would have gave some fans some happy, joy. But I'm not one of those people who would have gotten overjoyed by Dakota Kai winning. She needs not only a change of scenery, she needs a change of pace. she needs to change of pace. I think she plateaued in NXT over a year ago. That's why I keep calling her the ghost of NXT past. She plateaued a long time ago when it comes to being in NXT. I'm not sure what she's even doing there anymore. Not especially now that Raquel Gonzalez is gone, Candice LeRae is gone. Everybody that she worked a long term. What was that? What was the other one? Team Kick. Nixon Newell. What was her name again? Never mind. But she's gone too. So all the three of the people she came in with and she really worked most of her NXT run with are gone. Either, Candice LeRae just had a baby. Nixon Newell got fired. And Candice LeRae, well, she just had a baby, so she's gone. And her contract is not up yet. As far as I know, it will be up soon. And she's probably just not going to re-sign. So, I mean, it is what it is, but it was what it was too. And Raquel Gonzalez got called up. So she's lost friends in this division in every single way possible, except death. That's the only thing that's left behind is for her to have a long running storyline with somebody who ends up dead. But she's lost everybody around her. I can't believe she's still there. I just can't believe she's still there. All right. So after the match, Wendy Choo sprayed Toxic Attraction with super soakers. I could have done without this. I get it. Wendy Choo is very well liked by the audience. So they're going to do something to, give her a little one up on Toxic Attraction. This is not that big of a deal in terms of making them wet because, we like them wet, don't we? And, so that's kind of how that is, but I didn't hate it. It's within Wendy Choo's character. It's kind of silly. And she's out here being a trickster, trying to confuse people. She popped up right as the match ended. I would think she would have popped up before the match ended and sprayed them with water guns and, caused them to lose. But she decided to do it afterwards. So now we have that. Toxic Attraction wins. Mandy Rose wins. Right decision. All right, Von Wagner attacked Jacket Time backstage and powerbombed Kushida into the negative zone. At least that's what I thought. But he turned out he was okay. Rob Stone formally canceled the match, thinking that Kushida was not going to be able to return. He then went to the ring and said that Jacket Time is out of time and that you'll never see those guys again, which of course means that we'll definitely be seeing them again. In fact, we'll be seeing them imminently. In fact, we'll be seeing them presently. In fact, we will be seeing them immediately. As Ikemen Jiro ran down to the ring. He then bumped Von Wagner and Robert Stone in a completely unrealistic spot because Ikemen Jiro is the size of one of Von Wagner's legs. Then he gets on the microphone and in terrible English, which we knew it was going to be bad because Japanese speak English worse than any other language. And you know what? It's just something about Japanese where when the Japanese are trying to speak English, it's so bad. It's like that must be the hardest language to come from and try to learn English. It's got to be. It's probably top 5. I think that and Chinese are probably some of the worst languages to start off with and then try to learn English. I just can't imagine. It's terrible. So the match ends up being, instead of Kushida versus Von Wagner, it ends up being Ikemen Jiro versus Von Wagner. A violent fight from Ikemen Jiro. They gave him a hope spot. They gave him a couple of big comebacks, which probably weren't needed, but they didn't want to kill the guy. And the crowd actually likes Ikemen Jiro. They actually like Jacket Time. But they're getting over heels today, so Von Wagner goes over. Von Wagner's music has also been changed. It is now a generic rock song. So all generic rock songs now, they all just sound the same. I'm sorry, guys. I love rock music, but all that shit in WWE sounds the same now. None of it sounds like it has any life to it, no soul to it. It's not even a song. It's just drum patterns and guitars. And that's pretty much it. There's no oomph to it. It doesn't feel like a fucking song. It's awful. Some lady was pointing at Von Wagner or pointing at Ikemen Jiro. I don't know who she was pointing at. She was pointing though. And Von Wagner got the message. He then picked up Ikemen Jiro and threw him into the crowd, which I thought was a great spot. I thought they might have done a spot similar to the Spike Dudley spot where, you know, they body surf him around the arena. But this audience isn't that cool. At least not yet. I think NXT Black and Gold, they would have gotten it and they would have body surfed, you know, Ikemen and Jiro around the arena. But this audience is a little bit different. They just kind of gave up. It was like, oh no, you threw my fave. Okie dokie. I like Jiro. I like Kushida. I don't like Von Wagner. I want to know who this lady is that was in the ring, that was outside the ring pointing though. They're doing a good job of keeping her good and mysterious. Okay. Nikkita Lyons. Ooh wee. That's one fine girl, man. She's a big one too. She's a big one. Whoever is calling her Yam Yam Bigelow, will you stop that? That's just fun. Stop doing that. Baby got Backland. Stop it. All right. Stop doing this. All right. But the girl's fine. Oh, Nikkita Lyons fine ass. Jesus. The girl fine. Ramen noodle hair and everything. Anyway. She was asked about Lash Legend. She said she doesn't have to prove anything to Lash Legend. And she wants to prove herself to the WWE Universe, and she wants to make waves, and wants to prove that she can make waves. And as she's cutting her promo, Lash Legend came out of nowhere and booted her in the face like Test in the year 2000. I mean, she collapsed all over the place. It was a great spot. Fantastic spot. The sell job by Nikkita Lyons was awesome. She tipped over the chair and fell all over the place. It was great. The camera cut right before the kick, too, was a little unnecessary. But, I mean, this is WWE. They just want to get a better shot of it. And I'm glad they took a shot of that because it looked good when Nikkita Lyons flew backwards and flipped over the chair. Like, that was great. Oh, this feud is going to continue. There's going to be more buns. More buns ahead. My God. My God. Jesus. All right. Let's move on. I think we got one more thing to touch on. Yes, Cora Jade. So Cora Jade doing her first ever live promo, and she was clearly nervous. She had stage fright really bad, and she started chatterboxing. So she says that her parents were present for the most important match of her life over WrestleMania weekend, and it sucks that she lost. And said that she at first thought she needed to become she wanted to become the champion. Now she knows that she needs to become the champion. And that she meant when she wrote when she was 8 years old, that in her notebook, that she wanted to be a champion in WWE. She wanted to be like her heroes, and that she ran off a list of names, of which AJ Lee was one of them. So AJ Lee, who she's essentially a clone of at this point, was trending on Twitter. So people have brought it to my attention that they find Cora Jade to be very cute. And I think she is, in a very girl next door kind of way. She looks like the kind of girl you will see in a movie like Superbad or American Pie. And she wouldn't be the kind of girl that they would be into. She would be like one of the boys. Like, she hangs out at the skater park. She wears baggy pants. She has tattoos. She probably chews gum and spits and farts just like the guys do. And then one day they see her at home and they see she has breasts. And they're like, ooga. Wait a minute. Did you see Cora? She has boobs, bro. And, you know, that kind of thing. They kind of think that Cora is Corey until all of a sudden she got hips. Or like, I don't know if y'all used to see Good Times, where Bookman had this female carpenter. She was like his partner or whatever, and she had a crush on JJ, but she was a tomboy, so she always dressed like Bookman. She always had like jeans on and button-up t-shirts and stuff like that. And then there was this one episode, I forgot what they were doing, where she actually dressed up like a girl, and JJ was all over her at that point. So she got noticed by changing how she dressed. That just seemed like a Cora Jade storyline. Like, we're just begging for Cora Jade to get a Tiffany Stratton makeover and for everybody to go start wolf whistling and, you know, losing their minds. Anyway, Cora Jade was chatterboxing when Natalya's music started to play. And I was like, oh no, we were having such a good time. And here comes Auntie Natalya, Auntie Natty. What on earth is going on? It's all going to shit. It's going to shit. But I was like, okay, let's see where it goes. So Natty gets in the ring, and Cora Jade is trying not to mark out legitimately. Like, she's The crowd is actually very, very happy to see Natalya. They're chanting for her. She's slapping hands out there. I'm just like, oh, what is going on? People are pretending to be fans of Natalya in 2022. I get it. She was a surprise, but come on, brother. It's Natalya. She goes everywhere titties first. And that's the best thing about it. She enters and exits every room titties first. Because she got big bazookas. Anyway, Natalya starts to cut a promo, which is not always a good thing. So Cora Jade kind of cuts off Natalya as Natalya is talking about how happy she is to finally meet Cora Jade since she signed with WWE. Cora Jade marks out, then starts to say that, you know, you're the boat, you're the first action figure I ever bought, you know, and talked about how she sent Natalya this message through, I don't know, what was this, MySpace, Facebook? She sent it through something, through some social media site, because Natalya pointed at her while there was a show somewhere in Indiana. Apparently that's where this girl was from. Since they don't introduce hometowns anymore, that's just another one of those things that they've dropped. I know fuck all about Cora Jade. So I don't know where she's from. So apparently there was some kind of show somewhere in Indiana, and Cora Jade was there, and Natalya pointed into the crowd and pointed at her, and she felt like Natalya had pointed at her, and so she sent Natalya a message online, and Natalya saw it, and now Natalya is glad to stand here in 2022, 11 years later, and say, yeah, I pointed at you, I pointed at the right girl. And I was like, oh, heel turn coming, heel turn coming, heel turn coming, heel turn coming. She's giving her way too much credit. Then she talked about Cora Jade having a passion for the business. And as she walked through the locker room in NXT and she saw the landscape, and that Cora Jade is the future. But unfortunately, the future is bleak. She then smacks Cora Jade and then put her in the sharpshooter. Cora Jade, of course, visually tapped out, screamed, and then just held her leg as far as selling is concerned afterwards. I mean, she could have done more than that. You certainly could have just, you know, I don't know. But just holding your leg looking disappointed, I think we could do better than that, sweetheart. Let's correct things. We got to do better than that. But she's in the learning stage, so, okay. Before we get into the rest of this, matter of fact, let's just go through it right now. Natalya walks through the locker room, and some girl who looks like Britt Baker stops her. And I thought that she was about to talk to Kacy Catanzaro or Kaden Carter or something like that. But instead, she's talking to the entire women's locker room of NXT and says that they're all on notice. The boat is in the building. So now, Tatum Paxley, who looks too much like Britt Baker if you're on a bender or you have bad eyes like I do. She looked too much like Britt Baker. I forgot her name completely until the title card showed up with her face on it. And I was like, wait a minute, Tatum Paxley. But she wanted to be the partner of Miss Pitbull in the Diamond Mine. She wanted to be her Ivy Nile. She wanted to be her partner. And so Tatum Paxley says, I've been trying to prove myself to the locker room. I've been trying to prove myself to Diamond Mine. And none of it's working. So I want to prove myself to you. I'm challenging you to a match. And Natalya gleefully accepted this match. And then put the locker room on notice. And then walked out titties first, just like she walked in. Perfect casting. You know, as far as we need a female wrestler to come down to work with the talent and help the young women. You couldn't get better than Natty. Natty can't teach them shit about having a personality. But getting the mechanics and everything together, she's really good at that. She did it before. You know, she was one of the reasons why NXT was so big. Why NXT took to the next level with the women's evolution and everything. It was all because of Natty. You know, Natty was already on the main roster when the NXT situation started. So her NXT run actually kicked off the women's division, even though the women's division kind of existed before Natty got there. It was her involvement, just like it was Cesaro's involvement with Sami Zayn, that really kicked off NXT and made people want to see what was going on over there. Because you had some underutilized main roster talent moving over. And they're still doing that. And that's really good. That's very interesting. So I'm glad to see it. Cora Jade being her opponent is the right decision. Cora Jade is going to learn a lot from working with Natalya. From the looks of things, we're not really moving towards Natalya versus Mandy Rose, at least nowhere soon. Unlike the Dolph Ziggler run, where he just came in and won the title and just carried the belt for a while, it seems like they're going to have Natalya actually work with these girls, and she might be down there for the foreseeable future. Hopefully she is. Now, normally I hate Natalya, and I do. I hate Natalya with the heat of 1,000 suns. I hate Natalya more than it's shit. I mean, come on, man. You already know about me and Natalya, man. I don't even. Do I need to go there? I would throw rocks at Natalya's house if I could, just to not to break the windows or anything, but just like to hear the sounds of, like, if she got aluminum siding or something, just keep her up at night. Just you know, and then whisper in her ear to retire. Like, this will all stop if you retire. Just pelting her house with pebbles until she agrees to quit forevermore in the business. You know, that's just how much I hate Natalya. But I can tolerate Natalya being in NXT because the purpose is bigger than my hatred. You know, if she's going to go down there and work with Elektra Lopez fine ass and Nikkita Lyons fine ass, and God save Lash Legend's life before she gets fucking fired because she's awful at everything. And work with Cora Jade and work with Mandy and Gigi and Gacy. Yes, absolutely. Go and do it. In fact, they should send another one down there. Send another woman down there too. I love it. I don't think it's a bad idea at all to send Natalya down there. NXT's not long enough for me to actually care that much or be that upset. And plus the show is so chaotic that Natalya isn't going to be a huge part of the show. She's not going to eat up a lot of time on the show. They're going to be doing all kind of crazy stuff in NXT, hitting each other with pies, you know, having orgies, all kind of shit. So Natalya being part of the show is just going to be a way of bringing me down, so I'm not up too high. You know, I don't want to be, you know, cocaine high on NXT. It's okay to bring me down some. Briggs and Jensen is a come down. I'm like, Fallon Henley is not. She's okay, but Briggs and Jensen is kind of like, why? You know, Natalya would be that too. She would be should I go to the bathroom? It depends on who she's working with. But I'm okay with Natalya coming to NXT to help the girls. I'm 100% okay with that, and I don't see anything wrong with it. It's the right decision to make, quite honestly. And then there's a lot of women in NXT she hasn't wrestled before, and that she may never get a chance to wrestle because they're probably on the chopping block. But so I can't wait for her to see her wrestle like Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro, and for her to mix it up with some of the other women. But trading Natalya for Raquel Gonzalez, I'll take that trade every day. A day. Twice a week, a day. I'm okay with it. I'm all right with it. All right. So Draco Anthony was defeated by Zion Quinn. They're turning Draco Anthony heel. He's starting to mock Quinn's heritage by mocking his tribal dancing and everything. Draco Anthony got his ass beat. He got beat down in this match too, which was, you know, well deserved. Zion Quinn's finisher is a flying burrito. It's the same finish as El Matador, Tito Santana. I like it because it seems like he's really throwing some effort into it. And plus, I like simple moves that you could do to anybody. Zion Quinn was one of the guys that when we started this whole NXT thing, I thought they really, really, really wanted to push him and make him a star. But they did it kind of cooled him down. Like I said, you know, last week, that NXT was on a mission to get everybody as hot as they can, and then for some reason cool them down. Zion Quinn was another victim of that. He got really hot. He was on an undisputed streak. Everything was looking good. And then he did that dancing segment where he was dancing with, I don't remember who he was dancing with, but he was dancing. And he started feuding with Legado del Fantasma. And he left TV after that. I don't know if he was hurt. Maybe he got hurt. But he was off TV for a while, maybe even 3 months or something like that. So maybe it was an injury. And when he came back, he was inserted into this feud with Draco Anthony and Joe Gacy and all these guys. And I don't think this is really a good use of Zion Quinn, but I'll trust Shawn Michaels' booking on this one. I'm going to take it slow. Like, I like Zion Quinn. I can tell WWE, Vince McMahon will love this guy. He's a big dude, muscular, tattooed, Samoan. Everything Vince likes. Everything Vince likes. I can see Vince being really excited for Zion Quinn when he comes up. And you already know the drill. If you don't do anything in NXT, they're likely going to find a place for you on the main roster because, you know, that's just what they do. If you got your favorites in NXT, they're going to bury them. If I wouldn't even want the NXT title, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't even want it. Because if you get it, chances of you winning the main belts or becoming a star on the main roster diminishes almost immediately. You know, you look at the history of NXT champions and how often they've really actually done anything. Then look at how many people came out of NXT having not done a goddamn thing and became a huge star on the main roster. Fucking Elias. Rick Boogs was featured every fucking week before he blew out his knee. Every week. Aleister Black got fired. Karrion Kross got fired. Keith Lee got fired. Rick Boogs was on TV every single week. Every week he was on TV. Rick Boogs. All these guys who were NXT champions got fired, released, let go, kicked to the curb. But the guys who didn't do anything, like Baron Corbin, never won anything in NXT. He's a perennial WWE guy. They love him. So if I was Zion Quinn, I wouldn't want a title. I wouldn't want anything. Don't give me nothing. Just let me save it for when I get on the main roster and Vince gets a good look at me and sees that I haven't gotten to push anywhere before, and gives me the rocket, because that's what he should be looking at. I like Zion Quinn. He got to get his mic skills together, character together, and everything. But Zion Quinn, from a outsider's perspective, he looks pretty good. All right, so the final thing to discuss: Nathan Fraser is coming over to NXT from NXT UK. He probably should have been in NXT from the beginning. This is the old Ben Carter. Remember, AEW fans were super excited about him. Then WWE got him, and they started acting like he sucked all of a sudden. But they put him over in NXT UK because I think he's originally from England. So he got some seasoning over there. I just kept waiting for something to start with this guy because he never won anything. Like, he challenged for all of the titles. He's had really good matches, but he doesn't have any character whatsoever. He has no character. And that's the problem. Both him and A-Kid were two guys with no character. And now they done brought them over. And we've seen that A-Kid has fallen off the face of the earth already. He's got to be repackaged. And I'm guessing they're going to end up doing the same thing to Nathan Fraser. They're going to probably have him on TV under Nathan Fraser for a while. He's going to win one, lose one, probably lose another one. And then they're going to take him off TV to repackage him. I don't see them pushing a Nathan Fraser. For those of you who don't know, Nathan Fraser is actually a student of Seth Rollins. And I think it's called the Black and the Bold, or the Brave and the Bold training center that he's got. So he's got the WWE pedigree, and he's Seth's boy. Maybe they'll protect him and take care of him because he's Seth's boy. We'll see. But he's really good. He's fast, very fast. I think they should give him a speed-based gimmick. Not like the Flash or anything like that, but something along those lines. And he speaks perfect English because he's like Welsh or something like that. Or is he British? I don't know. English, I mean. I don't know. But he's a good talent. And it's a nice pickup for NXT. Especially since they're losing some guys. They're doing a smart thing, this NXT roster. They see that they're losing talent. And, there's cut season is coming up. There's call-ups happening. So they're like, okay, we'll just dip into the NXT UK Bowl because there's so much talent over there that are not doing anything. And there's so much talent over there that could be doing more and could be doing better or are floundering for whatever reason. Maybe it's just, and Shawn Michaels is booking both shows, so he knows what he's working with. So it's just, I'm pretty sure he's got a little bit more help now. I'm pretty sure he's not sitting down writing both shows from top to bottom. But he was the main booker for NXT UK the entire time Walter was there. And now he's a full-time running NXT. And, they pulled Gunter. They pulled Raquel Gonzalez. It seemed like they might have pulled LA Knight too. Tommaso Ciampa is gone. So now they're bringing in Pretty Deadly. They didn't pull a tag team, so maybe the Grizzly Young Veterans are going to get called up too. I guess we'll have to see. But they're just loading up from NXT UK. And I expect Amel to come over next because she's not going to win the title. And it seems like they're just going to have that. They're going to build a baby face or maybe even a heel over in NXT UK and then get them to a certain point, then bring them over. Because it seems like Amel has hit a ceiling when she magically turned babyface for some reason. And like she was great as a heel. And then out of nowhere, she became the pride of France, and she cried, and now she's a babyface now. I'm like, wait a minute. So she's on her way over here, no doubt. I expect to probably see Amel within the next couple of weeks being brought over to NXT. Because she's hit that Mako Satomura ceiling where you're not beating her. And I'm pretty sure Isla Dawn probably is not going to be too far behind. So, but NXT UK is getting younger because there's a lot of young girls over there. There's a lot of young guys too. Why they're not bringing over Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, I have no idea. It would make sense for them to bring them over. It would have made sense to bring them over first, but I think that what they want to do is keep the anchors over there, which would be like Jordan Devlin, who should have been over here from the beginning. I think Jordan Devlin probably has a bigger upside than Finn Balor does in terms of character work. He looks more like a bobblehead with his skinny arms and big head, but he's got great promo ability. He's witty. He can work. I like Jordan Devlin. He could probably dominate in the United States. He's great. But he seems to be one of the pillars of NXT UK, along with Tyler Bate. So they're not going to, in any rush, to bring those guys over, even though they probably should be. Gallus, they're never going to win the titles. Joe, especially Joe Coffey, who is the older brother, the Iron King. I love Joe Coffey. They should have been brought Gallus over. I think with the breakup of Imperium and, them taking Imperium away, they should just replace them with Gallus. I don't see why you wouldn't. They're doing some stuff as far as bringing in new talent and pushing them. In NXT UK, there's a new faction, De Familia, which features William Regal's son. It also features Debabo Metahan. I forget what his NXT UK, Tiaman, that's his name, Tiaman. I like Tiaman, so it's cool over there. They got a lot of talent for them to use. Rampage Bron, I think he's hurt right now, but he would really kill in the United States, especially if Vince get his hands on him. He's a big bruiser of a dude too. Jesus, that would be great. But I think he's injured at the moment. But there's a lot of guys over in NXT UK who aren't doing anything and would probably be better off if they brought them to the United States, or at least they could get the opportunity to do more. Now, maybe they're not forcing these people to move, and they're just kind of saying who wants to come over and who doesn't, or they're handpicking them. Who knows? But I guess we'll see, because they also have shown that they're not above just plain pulling people straight from NXT UK to the main roster, like they did with Doudrop. Like they pulled her straight from the main roster. They didn't even put her in NXT. So I like it. NXT UK continues to be the unsung secret weapon of WWE, and they produced their tag team champions, and Pretty Deadly can do it. They can hold the belts because they weren't bad champions. They were just goofballs. And if you can get over the goofball shtick of Pretty Deadly, I think you'll enjoy their work. The shtick gets old pretty fast though. They're very obnoxious. They're obnoxious as shit. But they're fun to watch. And that's what I asked for. NXT has to be fun. There's a lot of fun characters on NXT. So this was a fun week. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
The skin tone, so why attach yourself and piggyback the wealth you didn't earn or lack yourself? I'm telling you to own up to your own success and failures. It's a reason.